Major dual meet coming on Friday. The Ohio State Buckeyes are going to be hosting the Iowa Hawkeyes. And really, the story coming into this is the rematch from the National Duels Invitational, where the Buckeyes won in the finals there. They got off to a hot start, winning at 25, 33, 41, 49, and 57. And at that point, the duel was essentially over, and it was a really tough road back for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And now, since that point in time, Iowa has been in the headlines for a variety of reasons. For some great performances, right? They did great at national duels, beating Oklahoma State. They had a huge win over Nebraska, but they've had some tough losses, falling to Iowa State for the first time in 20-some years, losing to Penn State pretty decisively, and then really last week, the loss to the Minnesota Gophers, Golden Gophers, was a major, major upset, and one that was really not on anyone's radar until, we got through 149. It's like, oh, wait, this could be really uphill for the Hawkeyes. So, coming into this dual meet, you've got Ohio State is undefeated. They have been a wrecking crew start to finish this year. But really, if you look at the matchups on paper, there's a real path here for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And what we've seen from this team, it's not a level, it's not that standard Hawkeye consistency that you see in the regular season where, yeah, they might lose to a Penn State. They lose to Penn State consistently, but they're pretty much beating everyone else or very competitive. And that's been a big variation this year. But what we've also seen from Iowa, they're more up and down, right? And so they're coming off a major, major down. There's no two ways about it. When Dean Peterson's not there at 25, and at 41, Nasir Bailey gets dominated by Vance Vombard. That's not good. Drew Roberts beats Ryder Block. Charlie Millard dominates Jordan Williams. These are things that are like, wow, sort of surprising results. But now it's a week later, and it seems like that shouldn't matter, but for a lot of teams, including the Iowa Hawkeyes, sometimes it does. And this is a big, important dual meet, and I think it's one that is maybe more winnable than people realize. I'm going to dive into why I think that's the case. Now, what are the kind of the sure things, the matches you feel really certain about? Well, to me, there's four. There's four matches where I feel really confident in the outcome. Obviously, 141 pounds, Jesse Mendez over anyone. And it's notable here, I talk about Jesse Mendez, the most interesting thing about this match, no Nasir Bailey. Not only did Tom Brand say that Cale Peterson is wrestling, he made it sound like this is very much an open competition for the 141-pound job. He kind of implored Cale Peterson to take the spot and make it his own and there be no debate about who the 141-pounder is. Just a sort of an unthinkable situation going back to November when they in the offseason when Iowa brought in Nasir Bailey. So that's one but regardless, Cale Peterson, Nasir Bailey, or anyone else for the Iowa Hawkeyes, Jesse Mendez is a wrecking ball right now. He's destroying everyone in his path. He's looking like a Hodge front runner along with Penn State's Mitchell Messenbrink. So it's uphill there. And at 97, Luke Geog is going to be a huge favorite over Brody Sampson. So that's two for Ohio State. But I feel like at 65 for Iowa, Caliendo is a big favorite over Patty Gallagher or Ethan Burden. Can he get the bonus points to match Jesse or even Geog? I don't know. But you just feel so confident that Caliendo is going to get his hand raised. And then kind of similarly at 157, it may be crazy to say this, but I think Jordan Williams is a really big favorite because there's no Brandon Cannon. And so the Buckeyes are going to maybe use Maddox Shaw or someone else. But either way, even as Jordan has struggled, he still should be a very solid favorite to win this match. So as far as there are no sure things, but you can conceptualize in your mind. It feels like there's two on each side, right? And so that's four matches. There's six remaining. Let's talk about those. 125, Dean Peterson versus Nick Bouzakis. Now, last time, this was a dominant win for Nick. He picked him up, dropped him on his head, cradled him, and pinned him. He left certainly no doubt there, but Dean is a guy, match to match, he can be different. And that has been true, not this year, but it's been true historically for Nick Bouzakis. Coach Brand said, hey, this is a match that Dean really wants back. And, Peterson's a guy that beat Luke Lillidahl last year. He's a guy with a, win over Richard Figueroa. He's been in the mix. He's really tough. And from a physical standpoint, Dean is pretty special. Now, can he match the strength of Buzakis? I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm not ready to call the upset. But I think this match is going to be more competitive than it was last time out. 133. This feels like one that I expect to look very different from the earlier match. Ben Davino majored Drake Ayala. It was maybe one of the more shocking results of the national duels, and really, one of the more shocking results of the season. But then as Davino's season has progressed, you're like, oh, wait, this is maybe the best 133-pounder in the country. Now, since that time, Drake Ayala, he's had some tough losses, right? He lost to Frost, who he had never lost to. He had a tough loss to Blaze. He lost to Zan Fugit, who he had never lost to. But takes on Jacob Van D. Ton of offense. I thought this was his best match of the year. I gave up the first takedown, and then boom, boom, boom. 3 takedowns. Almost got the major there. And I thought Drake looked good, and he looked great against, I think it was Chris Cannon of Minnesota last week. So Drake is coming into his own. You watch his match against Davino the first time. It didn't look like Drake really had his full motion and his full pep, whatever you want to call it. It didn't look like the best version of Drake Ayala. I think for all the credit you want to give Ben Davino, it's easy to also say, okay, well, that didn't look like the best effort from Drake Ayala. So expect a very different match here at 133 between Davino and Ayala. 149. This is a match Ryder Block and Ethan Styles both had their ups and downs this season, but of course Styles has a better track record historically, being an All-American a year ago at 149, placing 5th. But this is one that I think is winnable for the Iowa Hawkeyes, certainly. Both guys, I think they're both pulling a reasonable amount of weight, and maybe that's impacted their consistency to a degree. Both kind of got gassed out by Joey Zargo after I think they had the early lead and then just sort of fell off, which is a credit to Zargo. He's been really good this year. So I think 49, certainly winnable for Ryder Block over Ethan Styles. Already talked about 57-65. Then 74, Kennedy won this match last time against Carson Hartzler. It was very close. It is going to be close again. That I guarantee you. Carson can absolutely win this match. He's won it in the past. But, Kennedy, right now, this year, he has the win, so he's the favorite. 84, I think this is the truest toss-up of the dual meet. Dylan Fishback versus Gabe Arnold. Gabe and Dylan, both a lot of close matches, plenty of overtime matches. Don't be surprised if this one goes into sudden victory. I think this is Gabe. I don't know for sure. Dylan Fishback had a tough loss to Mantanona of Michigan, where he looked like he was about to win, then he didn't. Gabe is so hard to score on, but man, so is Dylan Fishback. I expect a really close one here. Talked about 97, and then the heavyweight match. Ben Keeter is 3-0 against Nick Feldman. Say what you want about how good Nick Feldman is in it. Listen, I'm the guy who last year, every single time they wrestled, I picked Nick Feldman to win, and he lost every single time. Not going to fall for that one again. I'm taking Ben Keeter until Feldman shows he can win this match, but he can win it. It's winnable. The positions are there, but Ben has just had all the answers in this rivalry. So if you zoom out, what is the most reasonable path for Iowa to win this dual meet? So you start with the two big ones, 57-65. They obviously have to get those. You get heavyweight where you're 3-0. You get 74 where you're 1-0. That's 4 wins right there. Gabe Arnold makes it 5, and then some combination of Drake or Dean getting a win there, and it can be 6-4. I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think that's crazy. I'm not predicting the Iowa Hawkeyes win. I just think it should be on your radar, because you could say, all right, Iowa just lost to Minnesota. They're going to get smashed by Ohio State. I don't see it that way. I think we're going to see a real fight from the Hawks. I think we're going to see a competitive dual meet. And I'm not going to be the least bit surprised if Iowa ends up pulling off this dual meet victory. But Ohio State has set the bar very high, and they are the clear number 2 team in America until someone proves otherwise. I just wonder if Iowa can do it. Can they really pull this off? So it's going down Friday evening. I think it's going to be a great one. Coach Brands gave some thoughts. You can listen to those on FloWrestling. Talking to the media, I'm sure Ohio State's going to have some good media about this one. So those are my Thoughts on this dual meet? I want to know what you think about Ohio State hosting the Hawkeyes.